Hi everyone, it's LaShonda from Labors of Love with another Therapy Thursday video. Today I am continuing a conversation that I began last week where we talked about our internal listening boundary, and I discussed the three positions that we can find ourselves when we are taking information in from another person or another source. And those three positions were boundaryless, walled off, or a safe, appropriate boundary. And so when today I would like to talk about our internal speaking boundary, and those three positions are the same. So when we find ourselves boundaryless, as we are thinking about a speaking boundary, that means that there is nothing in between what happens up here and what comes out of our mouth. Oftentimes that results in us saying anything that we want to say without regard for how it will impact the receiver, the validity of what we're saying, the truth of what we're saying oftentimes, and the realities or positions of another person. It's just kind of a free flow of information and we just kind of spew it out. The next position would be walled off. And I kind of think about covering your mouth. The walled off position often means that no matter what's going on in here, it doesn't come out of our mouths. And so that means that there are people who have things that they want to say that they feel will contribute to a relationship or a discussion. Maybe they've been wronged or offended, but because they're walled off, they don't say anything. And then we have, again, kind of our proper filtered boundary, our safe boundary, which means that we will take into account how what we're going to say will impact another person. Oftentimes, not as much the words, but how we will present that information. We consider the validity. We consider the sources we got the information. We consider what the impact of what we say will have on us as well as other people. So there are things that doesn't mean that we stifle back things we have to say. There are avenues for that information to get through, but there are these mechanisms in place that keep us from saying things that may not need to be said at that time. And so today it is my encouragement that people consider when they are having conversations with other people, what position do you assume? Are you boundaryless? Are you walled off, or do you have an appropriate boundary? Just like with our listening boundaries, that may differ from person to person. There are some people that we speak with that we become boundaryless, maybe because we know that they won't say anything back to us, or we have a history in a relationship with that person knowing that we can kind of get away with it. Sometimes we're in relationships with people where in order to validate some of our own hurtful experiences, we try to hurt them in return. Yet and still, there are other people we have relationships with where we're so walled off that we don't say things that need to be said. We don't say things that would help another person understand our position or our perspective, or we don't say things that could potentially help the relationship take on the necessary shape that it needs to. And sometimes that is because they are people that we consider in positions of authority or just based on the relationship that we have with them. And so our goal is to have a healthy, filtered, safe boundary. If you find that you have a difficult time assuming safe boundaries using your internal speaking boundary, Labors of Love would love to walk alongside you and help you work through those things. Please visit us at www.thelaborsoflove.com. Until next week, be well.